Well, this being the 4th of July weekend, we are just going to take it nice and easy. No heavy, highfalutin metaphysical concepts that get our minds stirred into a frenzy. Just going to take a deep breath and just relax. Now, as we move into meditation, now I want you to think about something for a moment. You have been given a life to live. You are unlike any person who has ever lived, any person who will ever live again. Your life is like any other life that any person has ever lived or ever will live. It's your life, and it's your life alone. Just think about that for a moment. What a precious gift. You are you, and your life is to do whatever you want with. Now, your life has a beginning, and it will have an end. And a lot of people go through life worrying, and they're fearful, and they're all anxious and wondering what's going to happen next. It's like a journey. They wonder if they're going to get to where they are meant to go, and I can guarantee you right now you're going to make it to the end. Nobody has gotten stalled in the middle, so there's no sense in worrying about that. And in that process, from the beginning to the end, you're going to have millions of emotional experiences of every nature. Now, you can allow life to create those emotional experiences. You can allow life to think for you and create your life in a haphazard way, or you can think for yourself and create your life in a very self-directed way. So you have a life, it has a beginning and has an end in between. There's millions and millions of experiences that you have the power to create. That being said, how's it going? How is your life going? Good? Sometimes. Bad? Sometimes. Difficult? Problematic? Challenging? Sometimes despairing, I'm sure. You ever had that feeling that you just wanted to escape from it all? Just run away and that weights us down, all the worry and all the fear and all the anxiety. Just run away and be free. Well, unfortunately, we can't escape life. It's the only game in the universe. We are here to play that game, to dance that dance, to take that journey. But we can escape many of the difficulty, worrisome, anxious times and the hurtful times that wear us down. We can escape that. And we can do that by taking control, by taking responsibility for every single thing that happens in our life. And this being Independence Day weekend, perhaps I shouldn't say escape, but perhaps I should say we can be free of, or we can declare our independence from all those things that hurt us and that do not lead us towards our higher good. One of the greatest escape artists of all times, or during his time, was a man called Harry Houdini. And Houdini was just absolutely incredible. They would take him and they would handcuff him. They would chain him up with padlocks. They would put him in a trunk. They'd close the trunk, lock it with a padlock, chain the trunk with padlocks, and then they would throw the trunk over a bridge and it would sink into the cold, murky, deep waters of a rapidly flowing river. And there he sat, at the bottom of the river. Minutes and minutes and minutes would go by. An anxious crowd would be looking over the edge of the bridge, wondering if Houdini was going to surface. And then all of a sudden, somebody from the back of the crowd would say, "What are you all worried about?" And when they turned to see who was speaking, it was Houdini. How did he do it? What an escape artist. One time, a master locksmith came to him and said, "I've invented a lock that even you can't break." And Houdini took up his challenge. They put him in a jail cell. The door was equipped with a special unbreakable lock. Houdini had a small little pick, and he began to work in the lock. For hours and hours, he tried to pick that lock. Finally, exasperated, he gave up. At which point, the master locksmith stepped forward, gently pushed the door, and it came open. It had never been locked. See, Houdini was duped by his own thought processes. He was convinced the door was locked, and so he operated as if the door was locked and trying to pick it, and you can't unlock a lock that's already unlocked, and so he failed. Now, I tell you this because it's a perfect illustration of the way that we live our lives at times. We feel that we're in this prison of the mind, and within that prison there are very, very unwelcome thoughts, hurtful thoughts, difficult thoughts, self-defeating thoughts, but we feel like we're imprisoned, and we're looking for the key that will let us out so we can find happiness. And we feel that key is changing something out there. You know, if only I get there, I'll be happy. If only my kids would be okay, I'll be happy. If only the stock market turns around, I'll be happy. If only I get over this cold, I'll be happy. We're looking for all sorts of things out there so that we can get out of this prison of the mind, when all the time the door isn't locked at all. We don't need anything out there to be happy. We can open the door and we can move out of that cell anytime we want. So that being the case, why don't we? The Declaration of Independence states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator certain inalienable rights, that certain of those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." That's what we've been given. In the very first line, "We hold these truths to be self-evident," means that the very fact that you are a self, that the very fact that you exist, that you have these inalienable rights. It's the fact that you're here, that you're a God-given creature, that you have a spirit. Now, taking that a spiritual step further, we have the right to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but we also have the spiritual right to obtain it. We don't always have to be chasing it. And we also have everything that we need to obtain it. So we have the right to pursue happiness, we have the right to obtain happiness, we have everything we need to get it. So that being the case, I would say, why aren't we all happy? Now, in this case, I equate happiness with a sense of well-being. It is not laughing out loud and rollicking through a field of wildflowers and always smiling and being joyful, but a state of well-being is also being very comfortable and being at peace and having a certain serenity with those other emotions, like sadness. You know, it's a very important part of our lives. Or disturbance. Sometimes when we get disturbed, it's because something needs to be improved upon. It needs to be better. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as we don't get stuck in it. See, the ebb and the flow of our emotions, that movement from happy to sad is very, very important. And the darker side, you know, those emotions that are a little bit more somber are just as important to our spiritual growth as those ones in which we're happy and joyful. It's a combination. But what isn't natural and what isn't necessary is the fear. Is all the fear that we have about this or about that. Like, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? What is going to happen?